Revealing Hidden Formats in Genesis, Part 3. I left off here wanting to explain um, conceiving. A male's seed is visible and a woman's seed is not visible. So this is why um, when you think of the conception, how they thought about it, conceiving at that time, there is text about Hannah, who is asking our Creator for a male. Okay. So, what it is that they believed at that time, and is that a soul from our Creator was sent. And it was the woman's fault for not having this gift from our Creator to have a child. Because she knew she was receiving his seed, but she wasn't conceiving. So their thoughts were that our Creator has to send a soul, and she was asking for a male soul. So this is their idea of conceiving. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood what conceiving means at that time. Here, because Adam is getting cursed, he cannot no longer eat freely, not freely eat. He has to work or toil. I'm using the word work, not the word toil. The word because, that becomes, that is a word that's close here. Let me see. This is 17. To scroll up on the screen here so I can show you the word because. When the word because is highlighted here, you can see down here it is being used for the word now twice. Yes, only became 500 sometimes, because was 400 times. So the word now was used twice, so I'm using it as a green text or a green highlighted, and not something I put in. Now I was thinking about a new way of connecting like all these words together to mean what this word that I'm adding to the text is about. I guess I need to do this then, but I'm having to add the rest of your life, the word rest. Words are being said that don't mean anything. Now here, this is the definition for the word garments, okay? Then Wyvie made garments from dried hides. I had to add the word dried because hides, yes, it I wanted to make sure that they were dried, okay? And I needed another word to add, so it was dried hides, not a skin. Let me see the word skin over here. This is 21. And okay, let me pull it up towards the top for you. Come on. And the skin is leather 15 times and hides. So um, hides is okay to use. So that's um, in green, to be clothed. So the thing here is we have the definition for garments as dried hides to be clothed. Now, I know that I'm going to be changing the word garments later, meaning hides, and I'm going to change them to the word hide clothes. Okay, but the object is here we have the definition for it. but I don't want to confuse people later when they're reading it. They got to go search for this. So I'm going to be changing the word garments to hide clothes, kind of the combination here, just for future here when I tell you about these things. And then cultivate, to till, trying to make the text into for 12-year-olds to read, and plant. Could I use the word sowed? Yes, but to plant is a better understanding than the word sow. It's this action of having to actually work for your food. So, and then Adam had relations. I use the word married is a better word, and it's not the secular dictionary meaning, it's the Hebrew meaning of the word. And then it's really Adam's seed. I was just explaining that the seed from Adam is visible, and then Eve conceived and birthed Cain. So because when you start seeing text like this and understand the word or the story about Hannah, you can see that they were thinking of how birth or how conception happened to create a child. Now, you're going to say, why did I add such a verse here? Because when Cain gets married, when he gets kicked out of the garden, he's got to have a wife. Now, yes, our Creator made other Adam and Eves, so just don't think it's that that this was the only beginning. Some of you are really goofy when it comes down to the text actually means what it says, and it's getting better that way, but what you've got, no. But the object is we don't have any text of where his wife comes from, and because we're only talking about Adam and Eve, they had to have a daughter, okay? And then this is the daughter that Cain will marry. Now, Cain was a sower. Okay, I moved this verse up. This verse was down here. And because Cain was born first, Cain goes first. So Cain was a sower and Abel was a herder. Okay? And then they brought their best. We don't know it's an offering yet, but they brought their best. And I'm adding the word eat because at this time our Creator was eating with them. Even at the time of Abraham, you're going to find that when they were just before Sodom and Gomorrah, he ate with uh, Abram at that time, went and had his wife make bread for them to eat, okay, for him to eat. So don't think that I'm adding the word here and I don't know what I'm talking about. At this time, our Creator was to eat what they were bringing to him. That's why they were bringing him the best, okay? So Canaan bought his best foods. Now, here I'm adding this text because we have Abel bringing his, but we don't have Cain really bringing his. They're trying to sneak it in up here, but that wasn't good enough when it comes into breaking up the format or making a format. So by adding this verse, these two verses here, we now have Cain who was first, bringing his first, presenting them before him, and then Abel brought his first males. Now I'm adding the word male, and I'm also from his two herds. Now herds and flocks are pretty much the same word. Right now I haven't decided which word I'm going to use throughout all the text. So you're going to see me use the word flock sometime and the herd sometimes, yet they are the same thing. But I don't know if flocks would mean goats or what, but the object is I'm leaning towards herds at all time because they are herders. So they are herds. But here they had male, would have been rams and goats, okay? Now, when you're looking at understanding Eden, you can see that now that there's just not this garden in the forest, but there's field where they're feeding his herds. So this, like I said, is not like a small little area. It's going to be maybe 10 miles or something that they can roam around in, that Eden is, okay? And he looked at Abel's offering, but not, I had to say not at Cain's offering. Now here it is that they're offering it to him. And the word offering is going to be one of those words that do change. I'm still trying to work that out for years, and I still can't think of anything. So I might not be able to change it, but here they're offering him um, their best, okay? And if I didn't add the word not here, and it would have been, then why did Cain become so very angry? You see, it said had no regard. So I guess if I highlight these two words and made them yellow, and then said I'm replacing that yellow with this yellow. Yeah, I know I'm confusing you with all my highlighting, but I have to do it this way. Now, his continence, which is his hope. Now, no, I'm not going to be able to go over here and get the word hope. Here I use the theorist to come up with the word hope. And fell, it pretty much means faded. His hope faded. Once I add this word, I could come with this word here, and it faded. That hope was faded. And that way a 12-year-old understands what's going on as well as you do. Now, our Creator tells them not to get angry, not do well, which means hate him. And this is not a sin, okay? I tried to put up the 12 commandments here, and these needed a sin offering to be forgiven. So our Creator defines the word sin by saying a sin offering for not obeying the 12 commandments, okay? There's 12 commandments that are not being obeyed, and then those are your sins, okay? So this is evilness. Hate him is evilness. And I'm using the word evilness to be against our Creator because here he's going to kill his brother, okay? Well, that is evilness. So this hate, is going to lead to evilness, will happen. Evilness will happen. So crouching at the door, I've got the word will happen, okay? So that's my editing on the text to show that hate builds up to an evilness in this case, because it will happen. Evilness will happen. And have no desire for hate, for you must master it. So everyone is going to have the same hates, and it needs to be controlled. Takes his brother to the field and rose up against him. Actually, they fought. And then I'm switching these words around to killed his brother and killed him. Don't need to re-put his brother here, or the word his, but the object is when I do this switching here, whoops, it's a switched words, whoops. A lot of times I don't find this until later, and then I have to come back and do it. Sometimes I do that during the text. Sometimes I don't realize it until I'm reading it, that I can read things that just odd reading. To smooth that reading out, I needed to switch the words around. But you need to know that I did switch the words. The word said to ask, Cain, where is Abel? And his answer to Yv had to add the word Yv, or his name Yv, was, I do not know, for am I my brother's keeper? And Yv said, what have you done to your brother's body? Not blood, but body. And it's now he is crying to me from the ground's abyss. Now, let me get to that word, ground. Because ground, like I said before, they have definition for the surface is land, underneath it is ground. Okay, so you have to understand the meaning of the two words. Now let's take a look at the word ground here. Now here, if you notice, it almost as if Adam was made from the ground, so the ground is Adameth. Okay. Now, here you can see that it is meaning ground, but they use it for the word land a lot. But the object is I know the difference of the meaning, and I try to explain it as, and we'll see it here coming up in Exodus. I believe it's Exodus. Maybe it's Leviticus. Yeah, it's going to be Leviticus when Joshua is leading them over the Jordan. When the land for the Jordan dries up, or the Red Sea had dried up, and they crossed land, and then the water came back, that was the land for the water. Okay, so because you can see land, that's still called land. Here we're talking about ground. Now, ground, I need to add the word abyss, meaning that there's a place in the ground below. And I got to, whoops, I added this word. All right, sorry about that. I needed to take a quick break. I paused and I forgot to put the Be Right Back screen on. Sorry about that. What I was talking about was the ground. Underneath the ground is the abyss. This is going to be very important to people as the more you listen to what I'm going to explain as the abyss. The abyss is another space of existence. Okay. In the video below, or in the description box below, I have a video called Afterlife. And it is, if males do this, and I suggest all males do this at least once, you will understand that you have a soul, you can talk to the dead, and you can experience what the abyss is. The abyss is nothing more than thinking of what the size of the universe, and then nothing exists except for beings floating around, and everybody's heads are up and their feet are down. This is the only thing that is out there, is the people, or these beings. Okay, they call them the so-called gods. Okay, so you people who are saying there's gods, they aren't. They're just experiencing another way of life after they leave the earth, or their body dies here on earth. And it is safe enough for 13-year-old to do 3 times if they don't get carried away. I've got the warnings in that video, but anybody does it once, And that's what makes me different. I brought this, our Creator give this to me, and I'm bringing it to you to now you can witness the abyss. Now, the abyss, when you look at all the text, and they'll talk about the abyss as where they're going in the ground. And then I think it's in Ezekiel or one of the prophets where our Creator gives them a vision that all these dried bones I'll put together, and because they're complaining, where is their king? And for heaven, when you understand his everlasting promises, how they build up, everyone's soul was to go into the abyss. And then when David's son was going to have a kingdom in heaven, and this is why we end up going into heaven, or some of us will go into heaven, it is because he is taking them from the abyss and sending them into heaven, those that were good enough. Now, the thing here is we see that when Jesus' body dies on the cross, the earth shook and they seen souls ascending from the ground, okay? That's a sign that Jesus has passed away, or his body has passed, and he's now in heaven, and the souls arised and entered into heaven with him. So, since Jesus' time, the good go into heaven. Those that didn't make it to heaven are in the abyss, and you can experience these beings in the abyss. And you are to walk the earth without me. I had to add the word without for the simple fact that when we look at the text, it says down here, thy face will be hidden from me. The word without has to be there, okay? It's just backfilling a word from understanding the text that's coming up. So now we'll read the other way. You'll understand when you get this far, the same thing. Wander, to walk, driven, you're sending. These are too close to say that I need to put them in yellow, but I am going to just mention them. Needed to add the word away, sending me away, and your face will be hidden from me. Settled, to live. And then here's Cain, he has a wife and conceived and gave birth. It doesn't say what she gave birth to, but I added sons and daughters, okay? And they became parents, not that he fathered and they birthed descendants. These sons and daughters, they became parents, and they birthed and had descendants, and then they lived in tents. Because here, okay, it's not here, but I was just thinking that the list of all the people from one, okay, yeah, it is right here. This guy did fathered this guy, and this fathered this guy, and this guy fathered. This text has no bearing on our Creator's hidden formats and can be summed up within this little words, and they birth descendants. And now, yeah, here's all those ages and how old they are. None of that is true. And then we come to the story where now a male named Noah, and he built boats, okay? Because these two verses stand alone, and there was nothing that I could find here that would connect to it. So we have to have the introduction of Noah other than down here, Noah. So I had to add a text, and he built boats because that's what he's going to do, and he knew what our Creator was talking about. He didn't have to ask him, what do I do here? Now, this understanding of Noah building boats means that he understood how to take wood and or a tree and then get planks out of a tree to put the planks together. Why I'm mentioning this now is because when we read the text about Solomon, and they didn't know how to make a house or build scaffolding so they could bring the blocks of granite to build the house for our Creator. And remember, the king from Lebanon built David's house. So the thing here is Noah at one time knew how to do this, okay? And it seems like the Israelis who went into Egypt and came out didn't have this knowledge. Even though their wagons had planks, very large planks, they didn't know how to make their own wagons, okay? Because if they understood how to make their wagons, they would, or planks, they would know how to build a house, or or at least try to construct one. But I just wanted to let you know that when it comes to Shem, and he fathered Shem, the first son, and Ham is actually Canaan. Now I'm using, because Cain is used above, I needed to add the A here to show that he's different than Cain above. And I'm adding this because Ham is, I think, used twice, and I needed to not. I will explain a little bit in a minute right now. But right now, I wanted to try to explain that Shem's descendants. This is going to be a nice little surprise for you. So, where is okay, I didn't get it ready here, so I gotta find it. Where is, okay, there it is. I have a lot of things open, and let's see, master images, where are they? Right here, yes. No, it's, okay. I'm going to get ahead of myself here, but what I'm trying to tell you here is when you see this here, this is where I'm saying Noah landed. And that's because of the story of Jacob crossing the rivers. Here's the river, here's a river, into Canaan's land from Shem's land. So we have Shem's land, we have Canaan's land, and then Japheth, the third brother, will be down here. So the descendants that come through here are the Philistines, or the Palestinians. They are descendants from Noah, okay? And they're all one big happy family, but they don't know this. They're just long lost brothers, okay? So the thing here is when Noah's building here, and these are Shem's people are going to be driven farther north, and they're going to end up becoming Lebanon, okay? And that's why when Joshua came through, he stopped cleaning out the land, and that is why David didn't conquer them either and accepted the cedars from Lebanon to build our Creator's house, and the timbers for the roof and stuff. And that is just some of the knowledge that's gained by understanding where Noah landed, and that he had this capability, and it stayed with Shem's, and they went up because later here they're going to become shipbuilders, okay, in Lebanon. So the thing here is it all does tie together when I add the words he built boats. So just don't think I added these words not thinking things out. Now, the three brothers here were born, and then they received wives, okay? they didn't take wives, they received wives. Their way of life was to ask their brother's brother from for a wife, and they would receive them, but they would give them articles of gold or silver or whatever, or something of wealth. And then that daughter would become not daughter-in-law, but daughter by law over, say, Abraham sends, or Isaac sends out Jacob. Jacob comes back, and now he has a wife, and his wives are now under Isaac's leadership, and it's their wife or daughter by law of marriage, that he is now has to take care of the wives. The wives their wives are not responsible by their father anymore. You just have to understand that's how they did things back then. Well, I'm running out of time here. Let me. Okay. And then evilness was everywhere, not continually, but everywhere. Remade them. I just made man to add that, but he was going to wash them, not blot them out, but wash them. Wash means, I should have used the word wipe, but I know I used the word wipe in our Creator's hidden formats, but all man on earth didn't die out, and they started all over from Noah. Just like you have water and you wipe off the deal and you just do this once, there's a lot of residue still left. That's what this means, is he was going to wash the lands, meaning rain on them. Noah and his family was given favor. Found favor? No, he was given favor because our Creator's going to work with him. Here, why have you commanded him yourselves a boat? There is no more longer the word ark in the text. You call it what it is. It's a boat. Let's not confuse everybody. And to make a room on the top with a window. And then there's going to be rooms to store food and animals below. Now this says second and third deck. Well, I'm going to just say that the lower is as a rooms to store food and animals. Now, are these pens? Are they stalls that they kept the animals in, and the feed they brought up and give to them? I don't know. All I know is that we need these rooms to store food and animals. Okay, and I'm calling them rooms instead of stalls right now. And water upon earth to clean, not to destroy everything, but to clean things. This is an unclean on earth. It is, meaning that out of the unclean people. Now, when Abraham asked our Creator, if you find so many good in Sodom, will you kill all of them? This is type of where he's getting this knowledge from, as he understands that when he did the flood, he left some there, so they must have been good because he saved them. He saved Noah. So the thing here is other good people were saved as well. So it was the unclean that are being removed from earth. And I'm changing the word covenant to promises for the simple fact that promises, he changes and he keeps adding to them as through many different descendants. So you and your son, I must have added this word here, descendants, after. So yeah, I'm going to just leave it like that and just say, yes, my promise to descendants after you, with you and with you and you. It didn't make sense that way. With you and yours. With you and your descendants. So I could have left it just you and yours, but I wanted to make sure it was descendants after. Send in pairs of animals to the boat. Now, this doesn't mean that the boat had everything. This was the animals, the clean animals that they were to be able to eat, so they could replenish the world, the area, plenish the area. I don't think I can say that any better, because it would just be stupid to think that every animal from Earth got on those boat. So it has to be the animals that they were able to eat, which would have been birds that didn't eat dead animals. It would have been animals that didn't hunt and kill other animals. These are the pair that send pairs of animals. I could have put clean animals, and you are to keep them alive and get rid of the word boat, but maybe I'll do that to make sure that people understand what animals were there, but it shouldn't be that difficult to understand. Food turned to greens. He didn't have time to dry all the food. He gathered them up, so there would have been the greens for the animals. And then our Creator commanded for his family and animals. Noah did for his family and animals. Needed to have this to define what was up here, to finish off what he had commanded him to do. And it rained for many days. The total days is better defined in our Creator's hidden formats, and that has more of a timeline of what happened. And here it's in the first month, because it was raining so much. It says the fountains of the great burst open. This, what I'm saying, is the Mediterranean wasn't quite as high as it is now. That the water from the deep that had broke through and created the Mediterranean Sea, and this is what burst and brought up here through here. Okay, is that the same as in the Creator's everlasting format? Well, you'll have to read that to find out. And then the water increased and lifted the boat up. Now, we also know at the bottom of the Mediterranean that we do know that we have people had civilization down there. They were living along a river. So the thing here is that when the water increased and lifted up the boat, that's what it means, that the water come rushing in from the deep water while it was raining, and the boat had rode up, and it started floating as it increased on the surface. And then he caused a wind, and then it rained. The raining stopped. It wasn't restrained, it was stopped, and the water lessened. It receded. I wanted the word lessened. Is understandable for a 12-year-old. Receded, I'm not sure if that, but that is a good word. Maybe I will change it to get lessened if I have complaints in the comment, because this text I can do more with. And then the boat rested. Now, I want to stop there because I want to also, again, show you that's why I put Noah here, somewhere in here. And then you can see it was receding from or it was lessening from here, that the water had come up and then it was lessening away from here. So this is where I'm saying, because the descendants, the way they get their land, the first son gets where his father lives, and the second son gets a smaller portion, and then the other son would get another portion. So the descendants I have this way, and this is where I'm saying Noah landed, or the boat rested, and then the water lessened and they could live on the land. And that story's coming up.